You all, this week it's time to continue dreaming your dreams and thinking about what it is that you wish to bring alive as we get closer to Aries season, or the new astrological year. Stay tuned to see how this week's positive energies can help you tap into what feels best for you in this season of your life. Hey everyone, it's Christine. Welcome to this week's weekly energy forecast for the week of March 11th through the 17th. Immediately when I was getting ready to film, I started hearing a lot of music by Mama Cass, a former bandmate from the Mamas and the Papas, a group from the 60s and 70s. And I could hear her singing the song Dream a Little Dream of Me. And there have been many renditions, right? But I heard her in particular. So I will link the song because I feel like this week is opening up, or perhaps continuing the energetic channel that this new moon in Pisces started. And I'll link the new moon in Pisces video up here if you haven't seen it. I highly recommend it. There were a lot of messages that I got around, of course, endings, but also starting something new. And a lot of it has to relate to receiving messages psychically and intuitively. So you're not going to receive something that you could check off from someone external. It's going to come from within you. And this lunation, these energies and the dreams we're being asked to foment, to create, and to eventually ground into reality come Aries season. We're being asked to trust in ourselves, trust in what we're feeling, what is time to let go of, or I said that wrong. What do we feel is time to end and let go of in our lives? People, places, things, belief systems, etc. So there's something with that song. Check in with me. How are you all doing post new moon in Pisces? How do you all feel? What's going on? It's been quiet. It's always quiet in between the holiday seasons around December into the astrological new year. I've felt that overall because there's a lot of things happening, and depending on where these energies are hitting you, what areas of life are being activated, there's a whole lot of just cleaning up, letting go, and also too in the material sense, exhaustion, tired, and a lot of purging. So take a moment, drop your favorite emoji or an emoji that you feel best represents you at this time. How are you feeling? I'd love to hear. I'll tell you, this is the last week of Pisces season, you all. So happy birthday to any Pisceans out there. We are getting ready to shift. Some of you may be feeling the undercurrents of that energy starting to rev up. And this is almost like, I wouldn't say it's calm before the storm, even though perhaps it's aptly so with the upcoming eclipses that we have. But I'll say this is the time to really feel into what's true for you. And for so many folks, the emotional, sensitive, intuitive, psychic energies, it's the divine feminine energies, and leaning into that can be some of the most uncomfortable, precisely because there's a lot we don't know, we can't control, we can't dictate, we don't know the outcome. It's kind of like taking a scratch off lotto and you're like, okay, I hope I hope there's something underneath the silver stuff that I'm scratching off. There's a lot of divine trust, faith, hope, and also a knowing within you that things are going to work out however you would like them to, but also in a way that's going to lead to greater soul growth. So this is the last week I feel like we're going to really feel this intensely, especially coming off from that Mars square Uranus energy. There's been a lot of buildup, and I'll tell you, and I'd love to hear too, how have these energies played out for you? Anything unusual? Did you notice more tension or more support coming your way? Because we're going to continue to feel this until the sun ingresses into Aries. And for me, I'll just tell you, this lunation opposed my natal moon very briefly, and I felt like I could feel everything and everyone around me. So I just retreated. I felt extreme exhaustion, and I don't even know what it's called. I have a mild cold of some sort. My throat's been bothering me. And so I'm literally faking it till you make it in these videos the past several weeks because I haven't been feeling my optimal self. So if that sounds like you, you're not alone. I've been sleeping a whole lot more and just been feeling a lot of things that are shifting into gear that are going to shift pretty quickly come Aries season. So let's get into the energies for this week. We have two major alignments or transits and ingresses here. On March 11th, we have Venus ingressing into Pisces, her sign of exaltation. So Venus loves soaking up the sensitive, emotional waters, intuitiveness of Pisces because she's exalted here and she does very well in Pisces. It's also a feminine sign, and Venus loves all things feminine. So expect to feel increased sensuality, romance, love, compassion, empathy, but also with Venus in Pisces, something transcending beyond you or bigger, wanting to connect to something more. So there could be a focus too on wanting to connect to community, to belonging, being of service to yourself, but also of others. Because again, something I feel is a big message from Pisces in general is you can serve others, but you got to serve yourself first. And sometimes there's a tension there because some folks see it as being selfish versus being generous. And I don't even know, there's no discussion about it in my personal belief, but also in the way that I'm getting these energies and receiving them. In order to be of service to others and to connect with others and build community, you first have to do it with yourself and make sure you are in the state of receiving from others, because one of the primary lessons, I would say, with this Piscean energy, but more so with Venus, is learning how to receive too, not just take, or give. You want to strike that balance there. So you may feel a need when Venus is in Pisces to connect to so many things, especially those that allow you to connect to something transcendental, spiritual, divine, right? Something bigger than all of us. So this is, again, a lot of energies in the past several weeks that support connecting, reconnecting, perhaps updating your spiritual practices, the way that you relate to the divine, to universe, to God, however you call your spiritual team and members, and also thinking about what is going to help me feel that level of inner peace, fulfillment during these times. Because no matter what is happening right now, this Piscean energy is allowing us to see that dual nature, not just of humanity, but also of the spiritual world and what we're learning, and messages and lessons that are coming into us. And a lot of times, again, a lot of this stuff happens simultaneously. So we are unpacking a lot. We're learning to live in this human world, which can be very volatile, especially as of late, and learning to maintain our own inner equilibrium and inner peace, no matter what happens outside of us. There could be construction going on, people mowing the lawn at 7 in the morning and you're trying to sleep, your dog's barking and you're trying to meditate, kids crying, whatever it is. And a lot of these energies remind us that this is fleeting, because that Piscean energy is watery, it's flowy, it's intuitive, but also very nurturing. So a lot of these themes, they keep coming up, not so you can dismiss them, but you can get more comfortable with them. And so with Venus and Pisces, use this time to explore more deeply, perhaps even more intensely, or to change the way you relate to some of these topics around spirituality, relationships, your creative and intuitive endeavors. Because the way you express some of this may not be in the form of journaling. Not everyone likes to express in that way. It could be through painting, it could be through movement or dancing, or simply convening with nature. For me, it's been animals a lot. For me, I've been just connecting to dogs, squirrels, birds, geese. Animals for me has been a big form of, I would say, bonding, connection to the divine. So think about for you what helps you to express that, because a lot of these emotions and also messages are coming through in these ways, sometimes that we may not tap into on a regular basis, and also it could be new for some folks. Again, strong focus here on connecting to your spiritual team through meditation, through prayer, through altar work. You can spend some time in silence as well, in nature, with animals. There's so many different ways. The thing that's common here, I would say, is finding connection amidst any boundaries that are dissolving or that you may be feeling or encountering difficulties with. Because again, with the Piscean energy, there are no boundaries. So we are having to create that for ourselves while also maintaining those connections to different realms. And I'll say that broadly. Caution with Venus in Pisces, I would say, is escapism. First and foremost, overindulgence as well. Anything that alters your mind, especially if you're sensitive. This could be low-key medications like NyQuil or any cold flu medications. Sometimes, you know, that drowsy effect. It could be plant medicines as well, alcohol, drugs. It could be anything where you engage in it that doesn't really help you. So again, I'm not going to say it's good or bad. It could be overeating. It could be overdoing it with video games or gambling or whatever it is. So just be cautious of that, because a lot of times we may want to avoid feeling. We may want to avoid facing certain things that are coming up in our lives. And we want to do that by numbing those feelings, or essentially bypassing those and saying, excuse me, you can stay right here, I'm going to exit. And so we go to the escape or escapist route. And everyone has their form, where it could be, again, like watching Netflix or TV. So just think about it and just be cautious. But for me, this is a great time to reconnect to your truth and what it means for you, because it's going to be very different for everyone. On March 17th, we have the sun in Pisces conjoining Neptune in Pisces. So this is about bringing your dreams alive. And there's a huge reset in the Pisces area of your life, especially when it comes to any goals you have, any clarity, any healing as well, because the sun and Neptune too are extremely healing. And Neptune can present some nebulousness, some uncertainty, we're not seeing things as they really are, whereas the sun in this conjunction is actually saying, well, here's the illumination you need. Here's the direction or the type of information or wisdom or knowing that's going to help you in this area of your life. So expect clarity around any goals, ambitions. It could be too for some career, but I always like to frame it more in like your direction in life, where you're going currently, especially with Neptunian topics. It could be around love, romance, spirituality, anything that's been not clear, anything that's been ambiguous, uncertain. It's almost like when you're trying to find the answer and you haven't. It could be around many of these themes. Also boundaries, huge issue around boundaries too. Expect additional messages to continue coming through this week overall, especially from last week with the new moon in Pisces, up until we get into Aries, because that's when a lot of them reveal themselves with stark knowings and clarity, where we're able to actually take action, because Pisces is a mutable or double-bodied sign. So it's flowing, it's changing, and it doesn't stay the same. Whereas Aries is ready to initiate. Aries is like, okay, takeoff time. It's like that little rocket, and it's ready to go. So a lot of these messages we're getting, they're going to materialize, almost settle, like, you know, a snowball. You're going to feel things start clicking into place. I tend to get a lot of clairvoyant messages with video games and different pictures that click like puzzle pieces. And that's what's happening this week. So for any of you that have been feeling disillusioned in life, I know there's been a lot of hardship, a lot of challenges for so many people. And just an overall level of things are not working in the way that I planned them. Or, you know, I set goals or my goals to be a certain way, and they're not working that way. All of us are experiencing major rerouting. You know, GPS, when we get off the wrong exit and then the GPS calculates again, that's what's happening on a collective energetic level that I can tell you. I've been getting a shit ton of messages, and I'm going to be releasing next week, or this week, I guess, a video full of some channeled messages that I received around this. And sometimes we don't understand. We're like, I thought this was the next step, and we don't see it yet. And a lot of this Piscean energy is asking us to look beyond, to transcend beyond this realm and trust and lean into that, because we will get that realization, that clarity, that illumination, those answers, in other words, in a little bit of time, just not in the time that we want. And so this season is really helping all of us to lean into trust, even when there's fear and anxiety, to lean into our own inner knowing. Again, I keep getting spiritual practice, and I have videos in the works about that. And I'll ask if you're interested in seeing anything surrounding, you know, getting your spiritual shit together, drop me a line here so I can integrate that as well. Coming up next week, Mercury just entered Aries on March 9th. So again, you may be feeling something starting to pick up the speed, especially in terms of how you communicate, your thought process, dissemination, but also integration and reception of knowledge. And that's going to start spreading out as the planets, the other planets and the sun start joining Mercury in Aries. So the sun will be entering Aries and it's exalted here. So the sun's excited to finally allow itself to beam here. So you will feel that push. It's almost like when you're driving a sluggish car and all of a sudden you drive a car that has horsepower and you just start taking off. You may feel that. We also have Mars entering Pisces. So I feel like with this energy, which I'll go into more next week, Mars isn't exactly comfortable here, but I feel this is going to be and allow many folks to express themselves, especially their energies and how they direct them towards some of the themes we've already been feeling. So learning to trust and feel in your body and doing that from an intuitive and psychic place, which can feel uncomfortable for folks. Okay, guys, this was a little bit shorter this week. Let's get into the tarot. I have 2 oracle decks. We're going to see what additional messages. There's been a lot of like a lull, you know, when you're just hanging out at a point of transportation or like a hub and you're just hanging out waiting for your train, your bus, your vehicle, whatever to come. That's what's happening right now. Major cleanup, and the eclipses are going to also, they're like additional strong vacuum cleaners. This is another message that I got. You know, when you vacuum, you know how they have different vacuums. Sometimes they have those stick vacuums, which are, I just call them, for lack of a better term, the cheap kind. They don't have to be cheap. I've seen some of them are $200 and up, but generally they vacuum for a certain period of time and they're superficial. In other words, for carpets that are, what do they call them? Low pile. For hardwood floors, they're those types of vacuums. And then you have the heavy duty vacuums, which vacuum high pile carpet, etc. I kept seeing that. Right now in this season, a lot of us are connecting to more of the low pile, cheap vacuum type of energy. Forgive me, because this is the best way I can describe it. And we are starting to feel into this and letting go of things. And with the eclipses coming up, those are the high-powered vacuums, where a lot of that may be out of your control. You may realize, oh crap, my little vacuum didn't pick up the coins on my rug, but this big vacuum will. And so there's a lot of changes coming up for a lot of folks. What else do we need to know this week with all of this energy and the last full week of Pisces? Ooh, you guys, we got 2 cards that flipped. Okay, we got 4 cards here. Bottom of the deck, we've got Page of Wands. This is the Aries energy stirring up. There is light and a spark fomenting within you. Almost feels like the sun's rays, right? You're getting ready to take off, and these are all divine inspirations that are being downloaded into everyone. We've got 6 of Wands. Action is coming. Success. Let's take a look here. We've got Knight of Wands, Fire, Aries, Leo, Sag, Queen of Cups, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. This is water energy, Hermit, Virgo energy. See the light? And 10 of Cups, more water energy. So major releasing. We are still continuing to tap into our own inner lights this week and paying attention to what's coming in. Again, receptivity, reception, welcoming, opening your arms, and convening with your spiritual team this week is going to be really important as we close out the full week of Pisces and some of these energies that I've mentioned. They're supporting you tapping into your feelings, your intuitive embodiment, and receiving these messages. Because again, you don't receive your psychic messages in the way that we receive emails. And you may get signs, it may be a part of that, but if you're not aware, it's easy to skip them, to bypass them. That's the best word. So this week, we're really leaning into what is feeling safe, secure, good for us. There has to be an emotional connection. We have to have some type of invested interest into this. And I feel like this has to do with everything and everyone. Relationships are, I'll say, they're on the clean out coming up in the next few weeks. Many relationships are going to end. And I got really stark messages about this because I'm generally an optimist, but some relationships may end that you didn't expect. And some relationships that you feel it, are coming to an end. And this could be relationships with people or relationships to entities, events, projects, jobs, anything you are in relation to, a part of. So really be open and also take notice of what kind of messages, signs that you're receiving, because they're giving you glimpses. And this week is, again, no different. It almost seems like I'm repetitive. And I'm like, damn, these themes have just been coming up repeatedly for so many people. This is also having to do with creative pursuits for some of you. And this is such a broad category. For those of you that are thinking like, I'm not really sure what to do, I'm feeling stuck, I'm stagnant, you're getting signs about what it is that is stirring you, especially with the Queen of Cups. This is a time of, I'm going to say this generally as well, resting. And I don't mean, because some people are going to be like, well, I can't rest, I have to work. Most folks do. I'm not talking about hanging out on your couch all day, every day, 24/7. This is a time for taking a step back, though, and really reassessing your life, because that clean out energy is still here. And a lot of us have to release a lot of things to make space for what's coming in. And there's a lot of energy here, fire energy, of things that are being healed, transmuted, but also that are about to be created or birthed. For some, it could be literal in terms of having another human, or you could be having another pet, because some people have kids with animals, right? They're your fur kids. But I also feel like this has to do with your tangible goals and bringing them to life as we start this astrological new year. So many of this is preparation or preparatory. So there's a need to take care of yourself right now and honor yourself. When you don't feel good, it's going to be very difficult to receive these messages point blank. And I know it's easier said than done, but sometimes your body will force you, especially with the Queen of Cups, to take care of your energy. You may feel so tired, you're like, you know what, I gotta go to bed. Or I gotta say no to this extra social commitment. Or you know what, I gotta back off or reschedule or cancel certain things that I said yes to, because I gotta honor myself and take care of myself. A lot of focus on cleaning up your energy too. Who you share it with, who you hang out with, who you allow boundaries to are gonna be key. This is a time of purification and purging. We got the Hermit card. Again, Hermit and then 10 of Cups, major releasing. This is a time too of retreating, of going inward, of connecting to yourself again, to the divine, but really for making space for yourself, what's coming up for you, clearing out any stagnancy, anything, I'll say quote unquote old, anything that's coming up for you to acknowledge and to release. A lot of water here, emotions. And with the 10 of Cups, there are endings with relationships, endings in terms of some emotional beliefs that you've held. Because I feel like so many people are redoing and updating and having a new relationship with their emotions and their feelings and what that means and looks like for them, and honoring that sensitive, vulnerable part of themselves without labeling it a certain way, without admonishing themselves or others and saying, you know what, we're doing the best that we can right now. We're all humans. Doesn't matter right now, you know, whatever, there's so many factors that are coming in. The most important thing is to pay attention to how you're feeling. And there's a sense here of doing that in solitude. There's an introspective energy this week, because that's where you're going to get your messages. So you know what's interesting? Some people that I've connected with and that I've talked with, they really want to hone and activate and nurture their psychic skills, right? I call them psychic gifts generally. And what's interesting is a lot of this requires that you take some time to honor who you are, take some time and spend time alone and nurture that connection to the divine and to your spiritual team. So that means taking some time by yourself. And a lot of folks don't like being by themselves because a lot can come up and people don't always want to face that or want to see that, or more importantly, feel that. That's why there's a lot of escapist tendencies. I'm not saying this from a place of judgment, like I've been there too. We all have as humans. But this is going to be a week where there's a lot coming out. And I feel like the messages that are coming through to everyone, psychic messages, your internal knowings, especially with this Virgo and communications, because Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So many of you are going to get these signs, messages through mercurial themes. It could be from youth. It could be in terms of any communication, books, blogs, songs, or lyrics, I should say, poetry, any social media posts. Think of all the social medias out there. You may be asking for particular clarification or a message, and you're going to get it through one of these ways in particular. That's what I'm feeling. A lot of fire too. So there's a lot of healing that's happening this week. A lot of coming together and almost coming to the point of realization. You may be finally getting some answers on certain situations, on why things happened the way they did for you, and just be getting like knowings, glimpses, and aha moments. That's the biggest thing. But you're lighting your way through this. I was trying to figure out how to say this. So expect a big release at the end of the week. I can tell you just from personal experience, I've had moments of like crying or tears. And a lot of this is coming out for expulsion, to be released, in other words. Some of you are going to have, what are they called? I'll just say a big release, a big cry fest. You know, when you haven't cried or released an emotion in such a long time and all of a sudden it all comes out like an eruption akin to a volcano, and you just cry like so hard, so much. Some of you are going to have that. I feel that with the intensity here and also with the 10 of Cups. There's going to be a major release for many of you. And we've got both lunations here, full and new moon. So between now, we just had the new moon in Pisces on the 10th of March until the next lunation, which will be a lunar eclipse in Libra. Many of you are going to be feeling this. There's a tension here. Big themes about relationships and relating to others, honoring who you are and your boundaries. But more on that later. Let's get 2 oracle cards. Pick the hero's journey and see what additional messages. Thank you. Look what we have at the bottom of the deck. Weird is the new cool. Boldly express your uniqueness. I feel like this is Aquarian, Aries energy. Beautiful card. Even the red signifies to me Aries as a fire sign. Okay, we got 32, which reduces to a 5. Make the grade with flying colors. Remember, you signed up for this. These look like tidal waves or like a whirlpool or a vortex of some sort, doesn't it? I get a lot of emotional energy here. Some of you are going to be experiencing endings in your life. And for me, I'm getting a lot of metaphorical ones. In terms of realizing, you know what, I'm done with this in my life. I'm done. I'm like so done, you know, when you say that. And for many of you, it's going to be your own realization, which is extra empowering and strengthening, because it's going to be you acknowledging that and making decisions from that voice in place of clarity. For others, it's going to be as if the universe took something away and you're like, what? You know, when sometimes you have people that leave your life, or all of a sudden someone breaks up with you, or you get fired from a job, like those types of sudden events. Some of you are learning something bigger that you may not be able to see or understand just yet, but it's leading you on the path of greater soul fulfillment and, more importantly, growth. Some of you are being asked to remember through the messages that you're receiving, psychic messages and intuitive knowings, of why it is that you're here. Point blank. And it's to share. It's to share a part of your light. That's it. I call us lighthouses because I connect with lighthouses. That's it. You're sharing who you are as a creative spark. Think of yourself like a little flame. And it's coming back here. There's major cleansing. Spiritual cleansing. Some of you may want to do like a spiritual bath, or get, what is it called? Do some type of ceremony for yourself or ritual where you cleanse. Or, you know, where you have those days where you just do a complete cleansing, like you wash your hair, you scrub, like the whole thing. Something about cleansing. Let's get a final oracle. This is a self-love oracle. See a final message. Okay, we got 2. Bottom of the deck, we have heal. We've got 33, express gratitude. Everyone is a co-creator in this shared experience of life. Gratitude for all things overcomes our resistance to challenges and spurs our growth. There's a fish here, total Pisces energy here. I kept getting a lot of, again, a lot of hardships people are going through, a lot of loss, grief, letting go, releasing, and just endings. And any ending, whether it's something you choose, whether it's something good, like you're graduating from something and you're about to start something new, there's loss and there's grief, and that transition period can entail a lot of emotion. So there's a lot of feeling the feelings right now. And one way to circumvent, no, that's a bad word because that almost indicates like go around it, but one way to acknowledge where you are, even if it's in a place where you don't want to be, is with gratitude. And I'll just kid you not, I was feeling kind of low a few days ago and I was watching videos and all of a sudden I'm like, shit, I have so much to be grateful for. And I just started listing it. And it's so easy to think and to go down that hole and think we don't have everything we need in our life right now, but we always have more than we realize. The final card, we got 32 again, which reduces to a 5. So 5 5s. Conquer fear. Most fear is based on illusion. I feel like this is Pisces talking. Most fear is based on illusion, on truths we deny to avoid change. Release your need for control and perfection. Doing your best is plenty. We have a dragon here. Another red-haired person. Look at this. Remember, we had a red-haired person here. Either some of you are planning to dye your hair red or have red hair, or connect to any gods, goddesses, spiritual members that have red hair. There's something unique about it because red hair is, how am I going to word this? It's unique among the different hair colors, but that's not what I'm trying to say. I hope you understand what I'm saying. I mean it in a positive way. There's fewer redheads compared to brunettes and blondes, etc. So this element of fear, and again, I've touched upon this already in several videos, and this one including with this Piscean energy, we're being asked to embrace what we don't understand, what we don't know, what we can't see, what we can't plan, through faith, surrendering, right? Taking that big ass deep breath and exhaling and saying, you know what, things are going to work out. It's the how. As humans, we want to dictate and plan and figure out the how and control it. So there's a lot that's being cleansed out for so many folks through the different circumstances we've been experiencing and will continue as humans. You all, I hope this reading has helped. Comment down below. I'd love to hear how you're doing. Check out some of these other weekly energy forecasts and other videos. I'll post them somewhere here. Otherwise, I'd love to hear your feedback. The best way to support me, hit that thumbs up button, comment, engage. I love hearing from you. Otherwise, I'll see you soon. Take care.